Welcome to our deep dive into ecosystem services, a journey through Scotland's groundbreaking research from 2011 to 2016. This video unpacks how the Scottish Government's environmental change program advanced our understanding of how natural systems support society. We'll explore the terminology, the science behind biodiversity and function, and the practical tools developed to map, value, and manage ecosystem services. From national strategies to local case studies, you'll see how research has shaped sustainable land management and policy. Let's begin by understanding why ecosystem services matter and how this research sets the foundation for future environmental stewardship. Adoption of the ecosystem approach by the Convention on Biological Diversity in 1995 marked a turning point in environmental management. This holistic, participatory framework recognizes that humans are part of ecosystems and that managing whole systems, not just individual species, is essential. The approach underpins much of Scotland's research, emphasizing adaptive management and stakeholder empowerment. By integrating ecological, social, and economic perspectives, the ecosystem approach guides sustainable land use and policy. In this scene, we'll clarify the core principles and why they're vital for balancing conservation with societal needs. Academic, policy, and practitioner groups often use a variety of terms related to ecosystems and their services. However, inconsistent definitions can lead to confusion and hinder collaboration. Scotland's research reviewed these terms, clarifying widely accepted meanings and their interconnections. For example, an ecosystem is a community of living organisms interacting with their environment, while ecosystem services are the benefits people derive from these systems. Clear, consistent terminology is crucial for effective communication, policymaking, and public engagement. This foundation supports more informed and sustainable management of natural resources. Ecosystem services are the goods and services that people depend on, arising from the interactions within ecosystems. These are typically categorized as provisioning like food and water, regulating such as climate control, cultural including recreation and aesthetics, and supporting services like pollination. Importantly, many services result from the co-production between ecosystems and society. Recognizing these categories helps structure assessments and guides decision-making, ensuring that the full range of benefits is considered in land management and policy. Ecosystem Services Framework, sometimes called the Ecosystem Services Approach, shifts the focus from traditional biodiversity and ecological functions to the benefits nature provides to people. This framework structures reports and assessments, such as the UK National Ecosystem Assessment, and increasingly incorporates economic valuation methods. By framing nature in terms of its services, the framework supports more holistic and practical decision-making, aligning conservation with societal well-being and economic interests. Key research focus has been understanding how biodiversity, both species and genetic diversity, affects ecosystem function. Experiments at the James Hunt Institute revealed that plots with higher species diversity were more productive and more resistant to invasion by new species. Interestingly, while species diversity had a stronger effect on productivity, genetic diversity among barley varieties promoted complementarity, improving resource use. These findings highlight the importance of maintaining diverse plant communities for resilient and productive ecosystems. Research found that introducing new species to a plant community has a greater impact on ecosystem function than introducing new varieties of the same species. This is because traits vary more between species than between varieties. However, genetic diversity still plays a role by preventing dominance and enabling positive interactions. These insights are crucial for designing agricultural systems that are both productive and sustainable, balancing crop yields with ecological health. Informed policy and land management. Scotland's researchers developed models and maps of key ecosystem services using the CICES framework. Indicators for supporting, provisioning, regulating, and cultural services were mapped, revealing distinct spatial patterns between uplands and lowlands. These models help identify areas that provide multiple services and highlight where incentives can be targeted to maximize benefit. Mapping is a powerful tool for visualizing natural capital and guiding sustainable land use decisions. XAML maps produced by the research show how different ecosystem services are distributed across Scotland. For instance, provisioning services like crop production, regulating services such as soil carbon storage, and cultural services like recreation each have unique spatial patterns. These visualizations make it easier for policymakers and land managers to see where interventions can have the greatest impact, supporting more strategic and integrated planning. Visioning services, such as crops and water supply, and regulating services, like nutrient retention and sediment control, are essential for both the environment and society. Mapping these services helps identify regions where interventions can improve outcomes, such as increasing crop yields or reducing water pollution. By understanding the spatial distribution of these services, Scotland's research enables more targeted and effective management strategy. Cultural ecosystem services, CES, include non-material benefits like recreation, heritage, and aesthetic value. Unlike provisioning or regulating services, CES are harder to map because they involve personal and symbolic interactions with nature. Scotland's research developed a CES index using indicators such as listed buildings, historic gardens, and areas valued for recreation. This approach begins to capture the intangible benefits that landscapes provide, supporting more comprehensive trade-off analyses in land use planning. Combining indicators like cultural heritage sites, scientific areas, remoteness, and woodland recreation, researchers create a simple CES index for Scotland. The results highlight areas of high cultural value, such as national parks in the Highlands, while also revealing gaps where CES are less present. Although the index is still evolving, it provides a valuable starting point for integrating cultural values into ecosystem service assessments and policy decision. Valuation of ecosystem services, both monetary and non-monetary, helps inform land use and management decisions. By assigning value to services like clean water, climate regulation, and cultural experiences, policymakers can better understand trade-offs and prioritize actions. Scotland's research used case studies across different ecosystems to explore valuation methods, including natural capital accounting, which tracks changes in ecosystem benefits over time. This approach supports sustainable policy and investment in natural resources. Natural capital accounting uses valuation to assess the total benefits provided by ecosystems. For example, the gray water footprint measures the capacity of water bodies to assimilate pollutants, while soil natural capital accounting tracks changes in soil quality. These methods help identify hotspots for policy intervention and guide sustainable management. However, challenges remain, such as collecting sufficient biophysical data and linking management actions to measurable benefit. Managing natural resources is increasingly complex, requiring decisions that balance private and public interests. Scotland's research tested participatory approaches such as multi-criteria decision analysis, MCDA, and scenario planning to engage stakeholders in land use decisions. These methods help reconcile diverse perspectives, foster holistic thinking, and encourage innovative solutions. While resource-intensive, participatory decision-making builds capacity and trust, leading to more resilient and accepted outcomes. Private estates and in local communities, scenario planning and MCDA were used to evaluate land use options. Participants valued the opportunity to discuss impacts and share opinions, leading to more nuanced debates and better understanding of trade-offs. However, some were skeptical of model projections, preferring targeted scenarios over hypothetical ones. The process highlighted the importance of community involvement and the need for clear governance structure. Support regional land use planning. Researchers developed an interactive web-based mapping tool for Aberdeenshire. This tool allows users to explore how different policy priorities affect land use change and ecosystem service delivery, including the impacts of climate change scenarios. By scoring land parcels against multiple criteria, the tool helps visualize where changes like woodland expansion could deliver the most benefits, such as improved water management or carbon storage. Mapping tool ranks areas by their suitability for changes like woodland expansion, considering policy goals such as biodiversity, water management, and food production. Users can see how prioritizing different criteria shifts the optimal locations for interventions. The tool demonstrates that achieving policy targets may require only small land areas, but also reveals potential declines in ecosystem service delivery if agricultural land expands under climate change scenarios. By visualizing complex data and calculations, the web-based tool helps planners target support to areas where land use change can deliver multiple benefits. However, implementing these strategies at the local level also requires engagement with local knowledge and practical constraints. The approach is being further developed to explore a wider range of land use options, building on the current focus on woodland and agricultural expansion. Delivering ecosystem services at a national scale requires supportive institutions and governance structures. Scotland's research assessed 24 UK case studies, identifying barriers to implementing the ecosystem approach. These include legacy policies focused on individual issues, organizational norms that resist holistic thinking, and vested interests in the status quo. Overcoming these sticking points requires national and international support, encouragement for partnership working, and sufficient resources for innovation. Research found that many challenges stem from historical ways of thinking and working. Fixed statutory targets may conflict with the flexible, dynamic approaches needed for ecosystem management. Informal norms and reward systems can discourage holistic thinking or trust in non-scientific knowledge. Addressing these issues involves fostering a culture of innovation, rewarding collaboration, and ensuring that advice and incentives align with ecosystem-based approaches. Large-scale assessments often overlook the human role in generating ecosystem services. Local studies in Scotland used interviews and workshops to explore how people interact with and co-produce ecosystem services. For example, planting trees, managing rivers, or turning wood into art all involve human agency. These findings emphasize that many services are not simply provided by ecosystems but are co-produced, highlighting the need for local, contextualized assessment. Participants in local studies highlighted that benefits from ecosystem services often flow through networks. For instance, crop production not only provides food but also income for farmers, jobs in processing, and supports local communities. Cultural services are often intertwined with provisioning services, adding meaning and value. Recognizing these interconnected benefit flows is essential for comprehensive ecosystem service assessment. Scotland's water bodies and peatlands provide a wide range of ecosystem services, from drinking water and renewable energy to flood regulation and recreation. Research shows that managing these systems is not just a technical challenge, but requires engaging stakeholders in adaptive management. Restoration of peatlands and riparian woodlands can improve water quality and reduce sediment loads, but scientific uncertainties remain due to variability in local conditions. Applying an ecosystem services-based approach to river basin management helps illustrate the dependence of human well-being on ecological health. This approach supports the delivery of environmental policies that benefit both society and the economy. However, challenges include monitoring and mapping services in complex systems, supporting decision-making with diverse values, and managing uncertainty. Ongoing research aims to address these scientific and practical hurdles. Scotland's lowland agriculture, based on cereals and pasture, has achieved high yields but at the cost of ecological degradation in some areas. Research assessed the status of croplands using around 100 indicators, revealing that soil degradation and loss of supporting functions are now limiting yields. Nitrogen is essential for crops but can cause ecological damage when overapplied. Introducing legumes like faba bean can offset fertilizer use and improve sustainability. By combining field surveys with national statistics, researchers mapped agricultural output and management intensity across Scotland. This approach identifies regions where intensification is concentrated and where ecological concerns are greatest. Such mapping enables targeted interventions to restore supporting services and improve the long-term sustainability of croplands. Recent shifts in conservation policy emphasize not just protecting biodiversity, but also enhancing the benefits it provides to people. Scotland's research compared ecosystem service delivery across protected and non-protected sites, covering a range of habitats. The analysis showed that protected sites generally deliver higher levels of ecosystem services, especially cultural and regulating services, without consistently reducing provisioning services. Study's comprehensive approach, assessing a full suite of ecosystem services, revealed that focusing on just a few services can give an incomplete or distorted picture. Local context, social, biophysical, economic, and temporal matters greatly in determining service delivery. More research is needed to develop methods that capture all cultural and regulatory benefits, especially where conventional data is lacking. Scottish Government's research program brought together experts from multiple institutions, including the James Hunt Institute, Biomathematics and Statistics Scotland, the Royal Botanic Garden Edinburgh, and Scotland's Royal College. This collaborative effort ensured a multidisciplinary approach, combining ecological, social, and economic expertise to address complex environmental challenges. Research program was financially supported by the Rural and Environment Science and Analytical Services (RESAS) division of the Scottish Government. This support enabled long-term strategic research that addressed both immediate policy needs and future environmental challenges. Sustained investment in research is vital for developing innovative solutions and informing evidence-based policy. Scotland's research has advanced our understanding of ecosystem services, from clarifying terminology and frameworks to developing practical tools for mapping, valuation, and decision-making. The findings emphasize the importance of biodiversity, the need for integrated and participatory approaches, and the value of comprehensive assessments that consider local context and human involvement. These insights are shaping more sustainable and resilient land management practices. Looking ahead, the research highlights several priorities for the future. These include developing better methods for mapping and valuing cultural services, improving data collection for natural capital accounting, and fostering more inclusive governance structures. Continued collaboration and investment in research will be essential for addressing emerging environmental challenges and ensuring that ecosystem services continue to support society and the economy. Effective ecosystem management depends on engaging a wide range of stakeholders, from land managers and policymakers to local communities and researchers. Participatory approaches build trust, incorporate diverse perspectives, and lead to more robust and accepted solutions. Scotland's experience demonstrates the value of stakeholder engagement in achieving sustainable outcomes. Bridging the gap between scientific research and policy is crucial for effective ecosystem management. Scotland's program demonstrates how evidence-based research can inform policy decisions, guide land use planning, and support the development of innovative tools and frameworks. Ongoing dialogue between scientists and policymakers ensures that research remains relevant and impactful. Despite progress, implementing ecosystem-based approaches faces challenges such as data limitations, institutional inertia, and the complexity of managing multiple, sometimes conflicting objectives. Addressing these challenges requires adaptive management, ongoing learning, and a willingness to innovate. Scotland's experience offers valuable lessons for other regions seeking to adopt similar approaches. Robust monitoring and evaluation systems are essential for tracking changes in ecosystem condition and service delivery. Scotland's research highlights the need for regular data collection, integration of biophysical and social indicators, and the development of new methods for assessing complex services. Effective monitoring supports adaptive management and continuous improvement. Raising awareness and building understanding of ecosystem services among the public, land managers, and decision-makers is vital for long-term success. Educational initiatives, outreach programs, and accessible communication tools help bridge knowledge gaps and foster a culture of stewardship. Scotland's research underscores the importance of clear, consistent messaging and ongoing engagement. Development of new tools, such as web-based mapping platforms and participatory modeling approaches, is transforming ecosystem service assessment and management. These innovations enable more dynamic, interactive, and user-friendly analyses, supporting better decision-making and stakeholder engagement. Scotland's experience demonstrates the value of investing in technological and methodological innovation. Scotland's research has influenced national and international policy, contributing to the development of strategies like the Land Use Strategy and the implementation of the Water Framework Directive. By providing robust evidence and practical tools, the program has helped shape more integrated and sustainable approaches to land and water management. The impact extends beyond Scotland, offering a model for other countries. Ensuring the long-term delivery of ecosystem services requires ongoing commitment to research, monitoring, and adaptive management. It also depends on fostering partnerships across sectors and scales, from local communities to national governments. Scotland's experience highlights the importance of resilience, flexibility, and collaboration in sustaining the benefits that ecosystems provide. Cultural ecosystem services, such as heritage, recreation, and spiritual value, are integral to people's well-being but often overlooked in traditional assessments. Scotland's research is pioneering new methods to better capture and integrate these values into decision-making. Recognizing the full spectrum of ecosystem benefits ensures that policies reflect what matters most to communities. Adaptive management is a cornerstone of effective ecosystem stewardship. By learning from experience, adjusting strategies, and embracing uncertainty, managers can respond to changing conditions and new information. Scotland's research demonstrates how adaptive approaches can improve outcomes and build resilience in both natural and human systems. While focused on Scotland, the research program's findings and methods have global relevance. The challenges of managing ecosystem services, balancing conservation and development, and engaging stakeholders are shared worldwide. Scotland's integrated, evidence-based approach offers valuable lessons for countries seeking to enhance the sustainability and resilience of their own ecosystems. Summary: Scotland's research on ecosystem services has provided a robust foundation for sustainable land and water management. By clarifying concepts, developing innovative tools, and fostering collaboration, the program has advanced both science and policy. The journey continues with ongoing research, stakeholder engagement, and adaptive management, ensuring that ecosystem services remain at the heart of environmental stewardship. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of Scotland's ecosystem services.